Picture a quiet night stretched thin by exhaustion, where a single, breathtaking moment rewrites everything you thought possible. A weary cashier stands alone, her spirit battered by life's relentless grind, tears brimming behind a brave facade, when out of the shadows steps Michael Jordan, his presence a jolt to her fading world. What unfolds next is a gesture so profound it could shift the stars in her sky. Where are you tonight as the story unfolds, curled up under a blanket, phone glowing in the dark, or stealing a moment from a busy day? Before we unravel this unforgettable tale, hit subscribe to Timeless Stories, because moments like these, raw and real, are why we're here. In the stillness of a suburban night, where the hum of life fades into a quiet ache, General Mart stood as a beacon of relentless routine, its neon glow a hollow promise of ease that mocked Ava Bennett's weary soul. For months, she toiled under its harsh fluorescent lights, her late shifts stretching into a blur of exhaustion that mirrored the weight of a life teetering on the edge. Each night, as she stood behind the register, her tired eyes traced the lines of a world that demanded more than she could give, a world where the beep of the scanner was a metronome to her unraveling dreams. Beneath the surface, Ava carried a storm of burdens: her daughter Ella's fragile health, a bank account that whispered defeat, and the sharp sting of her manager's warning, Mr. Davis's cold voice still ringing in her ears. One more mistake, Ava, and you're out. That job wasn't just a paycheck, it was the thin thread holding her family above an abyss, and every misstep threatened to sever it, plunging her into a darkness she couldn't bear to imagine. Ella's face haunted her, a once vibrant light now dimmed by recurring illness, her small body fighting battles no child should face. Ava could still feel the warmth of her daughter's smile, a fleeting memory from brighter days when laughter filled their cramped apartment, before doctor visits and canceled babysitters drained their savings and her spirit. Now, each cough Ella let slip was a dagger to Ava's heart, a reminder of the medicine she couldn't afford and the bills piling like storm clouds on her kitchen table. The car she relied on groaned with every turn of the key, a rusting relic that mocked her efforts to keep moving forward. At General Mart, amid the endless stream of groceries and faceless customers, Ava felt invisible, a cog in a machine that churned on, indifferent to the quiet breaking of a woman who'd once dared to hope. Then, in a moment as ordinary as it was surreal, the chime of the automatic door pierced her fog of despair. A tall figure stepped into the muted glow, a man in a simple black t-shirt and a worn baseball cap, unremarkable until the air shifted with his presence. Ava barely noticed at first, her hands moving mechanically over batteries, a notebook, a few energy drinks, but something in his stillness made her chest tighten. She glanced up, and time stuttered as her gaze met his. Michael Jordan stood before her, his eyes carrying a depth that cut through the fluorescent haze, a quiet legend stepping into the wreckage of her night. Her hands faltered, a small package slipping to the floor with a clatter that echoed like a confession of her fragility. A tear broke free, splashing onto the scanner, a silent cry she couldn't stifle. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice a threadbare plea, expecting the indifference she'd grown accustomed to. But his response was a balm she hadn't known she needed. "It's all right. No worries at all," he said, his tone soft yet steady, a lifeline tossed into her drowning sea. In his eyes, she saw not the celebrity of a basketball icon, but a man who recognized her pain, a gaze that peeled back the mask she'd worn too long, revealing the woman beneath, raw and unseen. "Is everything okay?" he asked, his voice a gentle invitation, not a demand. For years, Ava had buried her struggles behind a brittle "I'm fine," a shield against a world that rarely paused to care. But in that moment, under Michael's unflinching compassion, her defenses crumbled. Her words spilled out, jagged and unpolished: Ella's health, the babysitter's last-minute betrayal, the bank account that mocked her with its emptiness, the job she clung to despite its cruelty. Each confession was a weight lifted, a breath she hadn't known she'd been holding, met not with judgment but with a softening in his expression that told her she was heard. Then, in a gesture as understated as it was earth-shaking, Michael reached into his pocket and pressed a folded slip of paper into her hand. "Keep this," he said, his voice calm yet charged with intent. "Call the number tomorrow about Project Ascend. I think you deserve a chance to turn things around." With a kind smile, he slipped his card away and left as quietly as he'd come, leaving Ava standing in the flickering light, her heart pounding with a fragile hope she hadn't felt in years. The note burned in her palm, a mystery, a lifeline, a whisper of something better. As she finished her shift, the world blurred around her, her mind replaying his words, his certainty, his belief in her when she'd forgotten how to believe in herself. Who was this man, beyond the legend, to see her when no one else had? Why her a cashier lost in the grind of a suburban store? In the dim glow of her bathroom that night, Ava unfolded the note, her breath catching at its simplicity. "Call this number tomorrow. Ask for Project Ascend." Doubt battled with longing as she traced the ink, her creaky apartment creaking around her like a chorus of uncertainty. Could this be real, a way out of the storm that had swallowed her days? Sleep eluded her, replaced by a restless resolve to chase the unknown, to grasp the thread Michael Jordan had offered her trembling hands. The next day, destiny tugged her forward. Ignoring the pull of another grueling shift, she dialed the number, her pulse racing as a voice answered. Jenna Roberts from Aurora Technologies, a name that carried weight in a world Ava had never touched. Project Ascend, Jenna explained, was a beacon for those battered by life's tempests, a chance for the overlooked to rise. Invited to their gleaming headquarters, Ava arranged care for Ella and stepped into a space that felt like another planet. Polished floors, sunlight streaming through vast windows, a skyline painted in hues of possibility. There, Marcus and the team greeted her not as a charity case, but as a woman with untapped strength, offering a job with hours that bent to her needs, health benefits to cradle Ella's care, housing to replace her crumbling walls, and a community that saw her struggles as a badge of courage, not shame. As their words washed over her, a stable wage, a doctor for Ella, a home without fear, Ava's chest tightened with a gratitude so fierce it stole her breath. This wasn't a handout, it was a hand up, an investment in the fire she'd kept burning through endless nights. What began as a tear on a scanner had become a turning point, a single act of kindness from Michael Jordan rippling into a tide that lifted her from the depths. In that conference room, overlooking a city she'd once felt exiled from, Ava glimpsed a truth as old as it was revolutionary. The world can break you, but it can also mend you through the quiet courage of those who pause to see. One encounter, one note, one chance, and her life, once a fading ember, flared into a flame she'd carry forward, a testament to the power of being noticed when all seemed lost. After weeks of training and adjustment at Aurora Technologies, Ava's life began to transform in ways she'd only dared to imagine. The repetitive, exhausting shifts at General Mart were replaced with a structured, engaging work environment where her contributions were recognized and valued. With steady pay, her bank account began to recover, and Ella's health improved markedly under the new health benefits. Yet, life's challenges did not end there. Not long after settling into her new role, Ava received distressing news. Her estranged father, Charles Bennett, had suffered a severe stroke. The news sent shockwaves through the newfound stability Ava had fought so hard to build. Torn between her responsibilities at work and her long-buried familial ties, Ava found herself facing an agonizing choice. Even in this dark hour, however, the spirit of Project Ascend shone through. Jenna Roberts and Marcus provided immediate assistance, arranging emergency leave from Aurora Technologies and even coordinating support services for Charles's rehabilitation. In the hospital's sterile corridors, Ava watched over her weakened father, grappling with old wounds and the fragile promise of forgiveness. Ella, too young to fully understand the gravity of the situation, clutched her mother's hand, offering silent comfort. Over time, as Charles began a slow recovery with the help of specialized care, Ava realized that this program was not only about economic stability, it was about holistic transformation. The comprehensive support extended beyond the workplace, reaching into the very fabric of her personal life and relationships. With renewed strength and gratitude, Ava became determined to pay forward the kindness that had rescued her. One busy afternoon at General Mart, a place she now remembered with bittersweet nostalgia, she noticed a young fast food worker struggling over the counter. The young man, Tyler, wore a faded uniform and carried the weight of financial worry in his eyes. Recalling her own desperate days, Ava approached him gently. "Hey," she said softly, "I know what it feels like when everything goes wrong. I might not be able to fix everything for you, but I can share something that helped me." Ava handed him a business card she had received during her own journey, on which was printed, "Call for Project Ascend. A second chance awaits." Tyler's eyes widened with a mix of surprise and hope. In that small gesture, Ava had sown the seeds of a new beginning for someone else, just as Michael Jordan's unexpected kindness had once done for her. Before long, word of Project Ascend began to spread quietly among those who needed it most. Ava herself helped create a network of support, a web of individuals, each paying forward the opportunities they had received. The ripple effect was astounding. One act of compassion led to another, and before long, dozens of lives were touched by this circle of kindness. Ava's journey from a weary cashier to a confident team member at Aurora Technologies was marked by both successes and setbacks. There were days when the technical training overwhelmed her, nights when doubts crept in, and moments when the ghosts of her past threatened to pull her under. Yet, every time she felt on the verge of giving up, she remembered Michael Jordan's gentle words from that fateful night. His simple act of noticing her pain had ignited a spark that had grown into a blazing commitment to her future. Her hard work did not go unnoticed. During a routine review with Marcus and other team leaders, Ava's remarkable progress and the tangible impact of her pay-it-forward efforts earned her an unexpected invitation. She was summoned to a high-level meeting with executives at Aurora Technologies. With her heart pounding in both excitement and apprehension, Ava stepped into a sleek conference room where the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. It was there that she met Cameron West, a composed regional director, and several other senior executives. They explained that Project Ascend was evolving into a broader, company-wide initiative, one that aimed to uplift not just a few, but entire communities. In a moment that seemed both surreal and inevitable, Michael Jordan himself appeared briefly, nodding with quiet affirmation. His presence, as unexpected as it was powerful, solidified the truth behind every promise made that night at General Mart. Michael's brief but impactful words revealed that his decision to help was no random act. It was a deliberate return of a kindness once bestowed upon him by a kind soul during his early, difficult days. In a private conversation with Ava, he confided that her late grandmother had once shown him compassion in a moment of need, a memory that had never faded. "Your grandmother's smile and kindness lit a path for me," he explained softly. "That night, when I saw you fighting back tears, I recognized the same spark of resilience. I knew then that you, too, had the power to create ripples that change lives." This revelation struck Ava deeply. It was not merely a professional opportunity, it was a personal connection, a passing of the torch from one generation of kindness to the next. Over the next few years, Ava not only transformed her own life, but also became a beacon for others. She was promoted to lead a branch of Project Ascend, responsible for mentoring and guiding individuals from similar backgrounds. Her efforts resulted in stable careers, improved living conditions, and healthier futures for countless people. The network she helped build was a testament to the idea that true empowerment comes not from charity, but from investing in human potential. Every person Ava helped carried with them a simple promise. Once they were back on their feet, they too would extend a helping hand. This chain reaction of goodwill became the core of Project Ascend's philosophy. Kindness shared freely has the power to transform entire communities. One evening, as Ava sat at her modest dining table surrounded by mementos of her journey, a faded photograph, a handwritten note, and a collection of thank you cards she reflected on the improbable chain of events. From that lonely night at General Mart to the expansive network of lives she had touched, her story was proof that even the smallest act of compassion could spark a revolution of hope. Ava Bennett's journey is a reminder that sometimes, when life seems at its darkest, a single moment of kindness can open doors we never knew existed. Michael Jordan's unexpected visit to a humble store not only changed her life, but also set off a chain reaction of empowerment and generosity that continues to spread. So, as you watch this story, ask yourself, when was the last time you noticed someone in need? When you see a glimmer of struggle in another, remember that your small act of compassion might just be the spark that transforms a life. If Ava's story has moved you, please consider spreading kindness today. Like, share, and subscribe to Timeless Stories, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Together, we can create a wave of hope, one act of kindness at a time. Remember, sometimes the smallest act of compassion can change everything. Who will you help today? Thank you for watching Timeless Stories.